You are in the video cast on how to deal with the apathetic student. This is in the category classroom kryptonite. And before we get going, there's a few things we have to understand. Number one, we have to deal with this kid when he's young, because as he gets older, it becomes more and more of a problem. Because kids, as they grow older and they get to the high school level, often will cut class and be truant from school on their own, and they become much more difficult to manage due to the fact that, quite frankly, they're just not there. So we have to begin to work with this kid at a very young age. We have to also determine if in fact this kid has a clinical problem. A kid who has a clinical issue and is apathetic, has to be diagnosed by a trained mental health professional, and a treatment plan needs to be developed, and that needs to be developed together with the school, the parents, school psychologist, or other mental health professional, either in or outside the school. This is because apathy could be just a low level of depression. And if in fact that's the case, medication will help this kid and therapy will help him get back on track. So we have to be very cautious in dealing with him, and we need to be sure that when we're working with him, we are dealing with something that we as teachers can manage. Some of the characteristics of this kid: he's lost all interest in hobbies or outside activities. No interest at all. If you talk to his parents and you ask him, what does he do at home? His parents are going to tell you he doesn't do anything. He may come home, stay in his room, he may play on his phone, whatever the case may be, but he does not do a whole lot at home, as he does nothing in school. He's very unmotivated, and in my estimation, we have to determine when this started, because when it started, there could have been an event that caused this issue to occur. He starts projects but then loses steam very quickly, and he spends a lot of time in front of the TV, surfing the net, or he's either shopping online for video games, or he's playing video games. So these are some of the characteristics. Other characteristics: he doesn't like to hang around with anybody who have interesting things going on in their lives. He stops going to school activities, and as a teacher, you begin to notice that you're spending more time talking to him and nagging him, trying to get him motivated. This kid may also begin to put on weight. He may begin to eat too much. He may not get enough exercise. He may sleep an awful lot, and these things all are some of the characteristics of an apathetic kid. Now, if in fact you have some of those characteristics in hand, what you have to determine next is the kid just plain lazy, where he doesn't want to do anything at all. Now, laziness is the manifestation of disrespect. I know that sounds like a little bit off, but here's the point that I'll make. There could be two teachers in a school that are working with this same kid. One teacher will say he's doing great. The next teacher says, I never see him and he doesn't participate in any of the class activities. Why is that happening? It's happening because one teacher has a good relationship with this kid. So it's not just that the kid won't do the work. He's not doing it for you because at some point during your time with him in the class, something happened that started to breed disrespect in the relationship. So my recommendation here is to check the relationship between you and that kid. If in fact the relationship is not good, what you're going to have to do is do what you can to repair it. Repair is an entirely another video cast which we will get to, but the bottom line is check the relationship, and if the relationship is not going too well, see what you can do to repair it. The kid could have a fear of failing, and if in fact that's the case, what we have to do as teachers is make it okay if mistakes are made. Don't react to the mistakes that the kid makes. Rather be more corrective and supportive rather than be reactive. He had to be successful at something in your class. There may have been a test that he took. There may have been an assignment that he did. He may have general interest in certain things. Okay, so you have to focus on some of the past successes that he's had. Kids like this will often say, why do we have to be doing this stuff? Why is this something that's part of our curriculum? You have to give a kid a reason to want to learn, especially this kid. So the learning has to be tangible. It's almost like you have to bring the theory of the lesson to practice for this kid, so he can see exactly why he needs to know it. That's known as making the learning tangible. And, of course, if there's any achievement at all, what you want to do is you want to recognize the achievement. We don't want to focus on the achievement as much as we want to focus on effort, but we have to recognize what the kid does that's right and make sure he's aware of it, and above all, make him aware that there was a character quality associated with it. Like, you really put in a lot of effort in making that, in creating the project that was created. I noticed that you were very patient with your classmates. Anything that emphasizes the fact that he achieved something and that there was a character quality associated with it. But more than likely, it's a lack of accountability. And by this I mean, kids learn how to play the game and they figure things out. They know how much effort they have to put in, and they also know that promotions are something that they're going to get regardless of how poorly they do. He can do the least and still get promoted, and we as teachers looking at this begin to accept subpar work, and that's a major problem. Our expectations go down. We don't look for this kid to do well, and we accept the work that he turns in, whether it's acceptable or unacceptable. And then we get into this whole problem of inflating the grades, when in reality, if he were to ask you, how did I do on that test? The real answer is you failed. The answer that he gets is, well, we'll take a look at it, we'll see what we can do, and we'll fumble around and we'll say, let's do it over again. We will never give him the truth, and he needs to hear the truth. Because if he doesn't get it early on, he's going to discover how little he knows by the time he reaches high school. Then he's going to blame everybody for not teaching him what he needed to learn. It is so important not to give this kid a pass, because what will start to happen is he will give you less and less, and he will learn less and less, and he will move into adulthood without the necessary skills to be successful going forward. So what are some of my answers for this? Number one, we have to encourage responsibility. We have to make this kid responsible. There are 5 levels of responsibility: thoughts, words, actions, attitudes, and motives. We have to start to dig and make this kid responsible for what he says, how he acts, and why he does certain things. We have to make sure that if he does not turn in assignments, that our grade book reflects that. And above all, we have to make him aware when he's doing poorly, and his parents, and don't give him an inflated view of what his performance is, and don't make him feel good about himself for no apparent reason. We have to work with this student on tasks so that when he's done, he feels as if he completed the task on his own. That's key. If you work, and that is a key to building responsibility, and it's also a key to shifting responsibility. See, I can shift responsibility to someone once I know that they can do it on their own, but I have to work with them first to make sure that they can get it done. So you work with them to be sure that they can get it done on their own, then you shift the entire responsibility to them. You have to build a relationship with them. And right below that you see you have to practice something called a 2x10. Dr. Alan Mendler of Discipline with Dignity taught me this. And what this is 2 minutes a day for 10 days straight. You have a conversation with this kid like he was your best friend. And you start to just have short little conversations to try and dig in to his thought life, to try and dig in to some of the secret life that this kid has. Everyone has 3 different lives: secret life, private life, public life. Public life everybody sees. Secret life nobody sees. Private life is between him and his family. Secret life no one knows, including his family, about some of the thoughts that are going on in his head, maybe even some of the hurts that he experienced when he was younger that caused him to develop the apathy that he now has. Encourage positive self-talk. Put up posters around your room that encourage this. I can do this. It's going to work out. Mistakes are okay. I'm on task. Whatever it takes, encourage this youngster to talk positively to himself. And he may even need to have some note cards that he looks at occasionally. If he has to go through a difficult point in a lesson, or there may be a difficult thing that he's going through in terms of a relationship, whatever it is, he may need to have a card that just basically says, I'm not afraid, so that he then can move forward and do well. Remember, it's not I can't, it's I can't right now. I can't do certain things yet. I will get this right someday. I will figure this out. I'm okay. I'm doing all right. I'm a good person. All of these things this youngster needs to be parading through his thoughts every day, and you need to help him put them there. Now, we've just taken a look at dealing with the apathetic student. This student is someone that you need to get a grip on. His success, believe it or not, is based upon how much time we spend with them. We can't give up. We cannot give up in working with this student. He's a kid who may have had events that have caused him to develop the types of thoughts that he has, that may have caused him to be unmotivated. He may have been raised in a home where in his head what he's thinking now is, I can't please my father anyway, so what's the use in trying? If those thoughts are present in his head, he's just going to transfer that to school and say, I can't please the teacher anyway, what's the use in trying? We have to take this youngster under our wing. We have to work with him. We have to encourage him. And above all, we have to give him opportunities for success. This concludes this video cast on dealing with the apathetic student in the category Classroom Kryptonite.